Hey, I'm Guy. He's John.
That I am.
And this is our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it and give this video a like.
Can also find our podcast below in the description as well. We posted on YouTube.
Speaking of our podcast, John, for several years, a loyal partner and sponsor of the podcast has been mybookie.ag, the promo code HAM. And hopefully one day again soon, everything gets fired back up. So we went to mybookie.ag to pull up what we thought were 10 NFL MVP odds that really stood out to us. And these are those 10.
Yeah, if you think about it, for the first large majority of the decade, it was guys like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Matt Ryan, veteran players winning this award. The last 2 years, Patrick Mahomes has started one career game, won the MVP in his first season as a starter, second year season in his second in the league. Lamar Jackson last year ran away with it, second year in the league. So maybe there's a little bit changing of the guard, but this one's going to be an interesting year. No off season. I would say there's not going to be a huge buildup in terms of buzz. It's just the league's just going to start right when training camps start. Won't have a lot of off-season stories like this guy's meshing with this guy in practice, the new scheme for this player, Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, whatever. Phillip Rivers looks like a 28-year-old version of himself. It's just kind of going to start, and you got to get good odds right now.
Yeah, well, Phillip looking 28 would be good because he's 60 to 1. So if you ask me right now, aside from value, who do I think would predict the MVP? I'd go, look, I'm not going to get cute. I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. So that's what everybody would do, John. He's 4.5 to 1, so he's not on this list, even though he would be my pick. If you had to pick a guy right now, would you just pick Mahomes?
Yeah, I mean, they say when you invest right, don't overthink it. Invest in Apple, invest in McDonald's, invest in Amazon. I would go Patrick Mahomes as well.
Okay, so let's use that same adage then. Don't overthink it. In the last 13 MVPs, only one has been a running back, and that was Adrian Peterson,
who had an incredible
historic
year, led his team to the playoffs. Yeah.
So, is it changing enough? When you say changing of the guard, that part of it hasn't changed. We do have some running backs on this list, though, like Derrick Henry and Ezekiel Elliott. Again, this is not that we like all these. These are just ones that stand out. So let's start at the top of the list. Lamar Jackson to repeat as MVP at 6 to 1.
I would say, it'd be very difficult for a quarterback who relies on his legs heavily and schemes constantly adapt defensively to slow that down. And their running offense, which was kind of took the league by storm last year, right? We saw it once upon a time with Greg Roman, with Colin Kaepernick. It kind of gets halted a little bit, and can he win it with his arm? I would say, yeah, maybe in the future. I would not take him at 6 to 1 to win the MVP in 2020.
I wouldn't either. Before we saw this list, I would have said to myself, you know who could be a good value? Russell Wilson, who's never won one. Then I saw this list.
But when his career ends, he's going to win an MVP. Like you would bet on that.
I mean, when his career ends, I'll say I watch an MVP level player. Does he actually win the award? There's just sometimes things that are out of your control. You have to have a great year when your team is actually also very good. I think this might be a good year for him.
They make the playoffs every year, so as long as he just, I think he's bound to win one. Now I'm with you 8 to 1, but I would say moving forward,
when will those odds ever not be good? Or
they'll always be high.
Yeah, or
I know
value. Okay, Wentz at 18 to 1. This feels like one that people are going to jump on.
Yeah, if you pull back the curtain, right, it was just 2017 when he was incredible before he got injured. I think if you take a little snapshot of the last 4 weeks last year, and I get they were playing their divisional games, he kind of put the team on his back. And going into that playoff game against Seattle, it was like, God, can Carson just beat Seattle even though they had a million injuries? I kind of felt they could, and then he gets the concussion from Clowney. I don't hate those odds at all, Guy. They draft a receiver in the first round. Alshon's going to be back. Hopefully he'll be a little happier. If Deshaun can just stay healthy, they have Ertz, they have Goddard, they have a good offensive line, they have a great offensive play caller. If you're right, Russell Wilson's already, 8-9 years deep into his career, so his peak years, he only has several left. You would say Wentz, also gets injured. If he can just stay healthy, he should be in the MVP mix in the next 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So 18-1 might be the best odds you'll ever get him at.
Yeah, I do like that one. His last 4, even though I like him, I feel like people are over liking the Eagles right now a little bit, but I do like that one, John. Last 4 games you referenced, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Josh Allen at 20-1. I like the Bills. I do not like this one.
Yeah, I'd like Josh Allen more 40 to 50-1. They added Diggs. His deep ball accuracy was very poor. So you'd be betting on he just became one of the best deep ball passers in the league this year, which, I think at their core, right, they want to run the ball. They drafted a running back last year. They drafted a running back this year. They want to run the ball, play defense, and take it out of his hands until he proves that he can carry you. Those odds are a little high.
How about Drew Brees?
40 years old.
Yeah. But has been has been a very productive player on a
Never
very
won the
productive
MVP
team, which is pretty crazy. I mean, he would be the argument for. Hold on, conspiracy theory. Do you announce you're about to retire so they give you the MVP?
It can't hurt. If you wanted to defend him, you'd say, well, he played in the Manning, Brady, and Rodgers era,
right,
when those guys racked up countless MVPs. And then even years that he was good, he's like, yeah, shit, this Patrick Mahomes guy, Lamar Jackson, Cam had a freakish year. Oh, Matt Ryan and Kyle Shanahan unite. So it was a rough time in NFL history to be a great quarterback and try to win an MVP. I would not at 40 years old, though.
We put Cam on here, by the way, as of this video. He doesn't even have a team. But I put him on here, John, in part, or at least from my angle, if somehow he ends up on
the Patriots,
then I would like Cam at 45-1.
These next 2 guys, Haberman, I would lean. I think for Jimmy G to win the MVP, it will be hard to look MVP worthy given their defense is going to be really good. Given they just won a lot of games last year, he would probably have to just be like 40 touchdowns, 10 picks, and they'd be like 14-2.
And his coach doesn't get into stat padding. He just starts running the ball.
Yeah, where Baker Mayfield, if I told you this year the Browns won 11 or 12 games and they had a top 5 offense, you'd be like, whoa, could Baker throw 37 touchdowns? The other thing you'd say for the Browns, right, their bar is so low. If he won 11 games and was just fantastic, I think he'd get some extra credit, right? Like Jimmy and Breeze and even probably Wentz to a certain extent. It's hard to get extra credit when your team has been good and just been winning. Like, you got to be extraordinary. To me, I think Baker could just have like a solid Pro Bowl season. And if their team's winning, being like, geez, this team hasn't won in 20 years. And this guy's the reason.
I mean, I think that puts him in the mix.
At 35-1, you got Odell Beckham, you got Jarvis Landry, you signed Austin Hooper, you got multiple running backs that you can throw the ball to. Kareem Hunt can catch.
Kevin Stefanski, is he a good head coach? I'd say there's a big question there.
Well, but we know he's a good play caller because he just had a great year with Kirk Cousins, who had his best statistical year.
The thing I took issue with, though, is if you're saying, I'm with you, a really just solid year and you win 11 games.
I'm just saying value at 35-1. I wouldn't like this at 20.
Yeah,
35 is good.
Do you like Derrick Henry at 45-1?
Well, when you factor in that the other running back is 100-1, I think he's inflated because of what he did to end the season. But if I told you the Titans win that division and he rushed for 1,800 yards, you're correct. Adrian Peterson, it takes a historic season for a running back to win an MVP. But this guy was on a historic pace, right? He had 3 straight games over 185 yards. If he can average 150, 160 yards a game. But I'd say Zeke at 100-1, those odds are really tasty. But you go, well, they just draft CeeDee Lamb in the first round. They already have Amari, who, say what you want about him, is going to catch 75 to 80 balls. Well, if CD adds another 60 to go along with Gallup, you look at McCarthy's years, he's probably more inclined to toss the rock around.
I think Andy
Rodgers,
Dalton would have to be the quarterback of the Cowboys for like 16 weeks for Zeke to win the MVP.
What would you say, like 1,800 yards, 14 touchdowns, and the Cowboys
and
go
they just have a
12-4?
great year, and Zeke is just their bell cow. Not on this list, but we talked about him. Tom Brady at 8-1. Those feel like inflated odds because he's Tom Brady. But I only bring him up because the thing we said that Jimmy Garoppolo's coach wouldn't do, Bruce Arians probably would.
Would you? I think there's two ways to look at Tom, right? He's 43. His best years are probably behind him. But you watch this Michael Jordan documentary and you just watch Tom like training in his backyard. You go, this guy's going to kind of be in some FU mode. And they are loaded at the position you need to win an MVP at quarterback, right? Because you got to put up touchdowns, and they got touchdown catchers. I mean, they got two stud wide receivers. They got the head coach that all he wants to do is chuck it. They got tight ends. They add Gronkowski to just, even if Gronk is a shell of Gronk, puts Tom in the right mood. You wouldn't like be floored if Tom Brady just has one of those, just one last, MVP hoorahs, right? Like a little Favre-ish with the Minnesota Vikings, where you just didn't see that coming.
I right now we don't see it coming, but it would also be foolish to write him off for that. I agree with you.
Any chance with Rivers? You got Ty, you got Pittman, you got Jonathan Taylor, you got Marlon Mack, you got an offensive head coach. Just one of those seasons where he throws like 33 touchdowns,
60-1.
He throws. His problem is, right, he throws a lot of picks.
Yeah, but let's just say he has a great year and they win, and they're capable of winning games. They win 12 games. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Who are we missing? What'd you like about the guys on this list? Let us know down in the comments below.
Win some money.
And like this video.
Like the page.